They think that marks and stats are meant to be broken. For example, LeBron James is expected to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record for most overall points. And Stephen Curry has broken almost every record for making the most three-point field goals as a percentage. Still, there are some records that are very hard to even come close to breaking. Throughout the NBA's past, there have been a lot of great players who have truly set amazing records. The numbers of these guys can't be compared to those of players today, so it's hard to imagine that they'll ever be beaten. Number 10. 23,924 rebounds by Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was the type of player you only see once in your life. It seems like he came from another world to play basketball with people, which is why he was so much better than the other players on the court. In his 14-year career, he only had 2 seasons where he didn't get at least 1,500 rebounds. In one of those seasons, he only played in 12 games. This was the reason in which he played the fewest games. He averaged 22.9 rebounds per game over the course of his career. So it's not strange that he ended up with 23,924 rebounds. No one has even come close to breaking this record, and Dwight Howard is now the current player with the most rebounds. He has 14,627. Number 9. 24.87 rebounds per game, Bill Russell. It's hard to believe, but Wilt Chamberlain doesn't hold this mark. Over his career, he averaged 24.46 rebounds per game. Bill Russell's score of 24.87, which is just a little bit over, was ridiculously high. Wes Unseld recorded the third most rebounds per game, after Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. At 12.01 per game, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the man who gets the most rebounds on average. No one will ever be able to beat Bill Russell's record. Number 8. 3,830 blocks by Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon was chosen with the first overall pick in the 1984 NBA Draft. This was a good choice, as he went on to become one of the best guards in the history of the position. Olajuwon's skill to block shots was the best thing about his game. In addition to being 7 feet tall, he had great timing when he blocked shots, which made him an even better blocker. The Nigerian ended his career with 3,830 blocks, which makes him the player in the history of the sport with the most blocks. With 3,289 blocks, Dikembe Mutombo is the number 2 player on the list. Number 7. 3.5 blocks per game by Mark Eaton. In the history of the NBA, only 3 players, Hakeem Olajuwon, Manute Bol, and Mark Eaton, have averaged more than 3 blocks per game. The 224-centimeter tall player played his whole career for the Utah Jazz, where he set a record that is very unlikely to ever be broken. During his time with the Jazz, he blocked an average of 3.5 shots per game, for a total of 3,064. Anthony Davis, who is still playing, averages 2.34 blocks per game, which is the most of any current player. Number 6. 15,806 assists by John Stockton. Chris Paul has given out 10,977 assists over the course of his career. That put him in 3rd place all-time. With a score of 12,091, Jason Kidd is in 2nd place. And John Stockton, who has given out 15,806 assists, is way ahead of the rest of these guys. There's no doubt that the famous point guard for the Utah Jazz is the best shooter in the history of the NBA. This person is so skilled that he could even help if he closed his eyes. Karl Malone was his partner in one of the most brutal teams in basketball history, which also included Stockton. Number 5. 3,265 steals by John Stockton. In addition to his amazing ability to throw the ball, John Stockton had a natural knack for stealing the ball and passing it. Stockton has had 13 seasons in a row where he stole more than 100 balls. In 5 of those seasons, he stole at least 200. Stockton was the only player in NBA history to finish his career with 3,000 steals, which is a number that is still used today. Chris Paul is the player in the game who has the most steals right now. He has 2,453. So John Stockton has another record that will probably never be broken again. Number 4. Stephen Curry's 3,117 three-point field goals. Stephen Curry has made 3,117 three-pointers so far in his career, but he will keep making more. By the end of his career, he's expected to have made between 3,500 and 3,600 three-pointers, a number that will never be beaten. There's no question that James Harden, 2,593, and Damian Lillard, 2,147, have a chance to catch up to Curry. But to do so, they will need to have great seasons and be able to avoid the normal and inevitable decline that happens to players in their 30s. Even if Harden and Lillard each make 3,000 three-pointers, it won't be enough to beat Stephen Curry's record for most in a season. Number 3. 142.6 Value over Replacement Player by LeBron James. LeBron James is one of the players who has been in the NBA the longest. However, the most impressive thing about his career is not how long he has been in the league, but how well he has played for the past 19 seasons. James, who was 37 at the end of his career, scored a ridiculous 30.3 points per game. So LeBron James' VORP of 142.6 is because he is so reliable. The person closest to LeBron is Michael Jordan, who has a VORP of 116.05. And the player with the highest VORP among active players is Chris Paul, who has a VORP of 93.68. Number 2. 7,631 playoff points by LeBron James. LeBron James also holds another record that will never be broken. He has scored 7,361 points in the playoffs, which is almost impossible to do. LeBron James has played in 266 playoff games because he has made it to the playoffs 15 times and has always won and moved on. With 4,559 points, Kevin Durant, who is still playing, is the person who is closest to LeBron James right now. With 5,987 points, Michael Jordan is second on this list. It's highly unlikely that anyone will be able to beat LeBron James's mark. Number 1. 30.1 points per game, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the only player in sports history to have won the scoring title a record 10 times. In fact, Jordan led the league in points per game for 7 straight seasons before moving to play baseball. When he came back, he won 3 scoring titles in a row, which made him the top scorer of all time. Michael Jordan was a scoring machine, and it's doubtful that anyone will ever beat his career average of 30.1 points per game. With an average of 27.18, Kevin Durant is now the current player with the highest average. Here are some other records that you should look out for. In 1998, when the Bulls played against the Hawks, 62,046 people watched the game. There is now another tie with the Bulls in the record books. During the 1997-1998 season, the Atlanta Hawks played their games at Georgia Tech University and the Georgia Dome because they were getting ready to move into a new stadium. The Hawks were going through a time of change when they won this game. The Hawks chose to play their game at the Dome, the city's biggest sports arena, because the Bulls and Michael Jordan, who was about to retire, were going to be in town. Jordan scored 34 points as the Bulls beat the Hawks 89-74. This brought 62,046 people to the building. The United Center still has the most seats in the NBA, with 20,917. But to break the record, 3 full United Centers would have to be in use at the same time. It's important to remember that this is a record for the regular season, and that 108,713 people went to the All-Star Game in Arlington, Texas in 2010 to set the all-time NBA attendance record. During the 1971-1972 season, the Lakers won 33 straight games. During the 1971-72 NBA season, the Los Angeles Lakers, led by Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West, won 33 straight games and won the league title. In recent years, there have been runs that have come close to breaking this record, like the Warriors' 73-win season in 2015-2016 when they won 28 straight games and started the season 24-0. But considering how tough the rest of the league is and how much attention a team on a winning streak gets from the media, it seems impossible that we will ever see a streak longer than this. This team, which included West, Baylor, and Chamberlain, all went on to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, which was the perfect storm at the right time. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for more.